Hey, guys, if we weren't monsters that were shunned by society and we could do what we wanted, what would you guys do?
Go to high school. Maybe get a girlfriend.
Can you imagine that?
Not likely.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are back, bringing martial arts fun and a lot of adolescent humor to this latest movie, which has them teaming up with a budding reporter to try and stop a criminal mastermind and his crew of animal mutant ne'er-do-wells. Look, there have been a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, and while I don't think that we really needed a reboot, I do appreciate that this one seems to be aimed to please the human teenagers, mutant or not. It's funny, lots of action, and a lot more heart than you might expect.
It's an ancient ecosystem untouched by man. Whatever is down there is trying to make its way to the surface.
Giant megalodon sharks are chomping on beachgoers, and only Jason Statham can stop them in Meg 2: The Trench.
Relax. This place, Meg-proof. I mean, Joyce was always afraid of this, but I was also thinking...
This is a man versus monster movie that's frequently quite silly, but it leans into the carnage. It's a schlocky adventure, but if you like the original Meg movie, I think you'll enjoy this sequel.
We have by far the safest food supply in the entire world.
The safest food supply in the world.
Well, we don't have the safest food system in the world.
And finally, Netflix has a new documentary that will make you think about America's food safety before you head out to lunch. Poisoned, The Dirty Truth About Your Food, looks at our food supply through the eyes of an attorney and some grieving parents. It's a little dry, but definitely a film that will get you worried about our food supply.
I ate a salad and now I have long-term health effects from it.
And that's what's new this weekend at the movies. I'm Sean McBride, the movie guy.
Good morning, everybody. It's about 28 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock. Sure sign we're at the end of the week. It's out of the blue, some guy wanders in here and wants to talk about movies.
Yeah, I always like to do a little dance Friday morning just to get me going.
I'm right there with you on that one. As long as we're dancing inside, not outside.
Yeah, true.
It's too hot even for the joyous
this early in the morning.
dance.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
certainly is. Sean McBride, the movie guy, of course, joins us. I was trying to think earlier, and I know you'll know, when's the first year you did movie reviews on the morning show?
I used to work at another TV station, and that started in 97, but 98 was when 98? I came over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since 98.
Yeah.
Sean McBride, the movie guy.
I feel old suddenly.
Oh, listen, that was 98. I would already be here 12 years before you came.
Exactly, so, okay.
So a career
That's
already.
fine, you be the old guy, I'll be the young kid.
I'll be the old guy. It's okay, I don't mind. I'm used to it by now, being the old guy. Again, Sean joins us every Friday since 1998 to talk about what's going on at the movies. He even did so, by the way, friends, long distance. Sean left this city and moved to Boise, Idaho, but yet continued to do the movie guy
what can I say?
on the morning show. I don't know how we made that happen, but he did. And why somebody would leave Boise, Idaho to come back to Southeast Texas, you would have to ask Sean.
I was actually just there, and it was hotter in Boise, Idaho than it was.
That's hard to imagine.
Yeah, it was I had a niece's wedding, and it was 105 degrees in her outdoor wedding. Wow. But half the guests were from Texas, because my family's in Texas.
Yeah.
And we were all sitting outside going, oh, this ain't nothing, because there's no humidity. It was actually kind of pleasant.
So, and that also explains to you why Sean came back. It was family that brought him back, and that seems to be the reason many of us move back and stay in Southeast Texas, because of our roots and our families who are here as well. We've got some hot times, and it seems to have been a benefit, Sean, to movie theaters. Okay, I'm not going to deny you also had some quality content with Oppenheimer and content that sparked a huge interest in Barbie for people to go see. But the number of theater owners must be over the roof right now with the fact that people are coming back in to watch.
And we hope they're coming back in. I mean, I'll be honest with you, some of them, we're not quite to the level that we need to be at. But for example, Cinemark, which is the organization that owns the Regal chain, they just emerged from bankruptcy.
Right.
So things are looking up, and we do have a lot of good movies on the docket. Now, I think a lot of these movies may actually move because of the strike, and it's hard to launch a movie if you can't get actors to go to the evening talk shows and whatnot.
That's true.
And so we may lose a lot of them. But right now, we do have movies.
I guess my point being, too, though, that the weather has a lot to do with it. People are like, hey, I'm not going outside. I don't want to do outside activities. Let's go see a movie because we know we can enjoy it in AC.
You know, that's fascinating because I saw the Meg 2, The Trench, last night. And I'm sitting there going, okay, this is not a good movie. It's just a guilty pleasure movie at best. but I was so comfortable with that air conditioning going full blast, and I thought, yeah, this is a great way to spend a couple of hours.
My question would be, did you watch it by yourself, or were there people there?
There were not many people
I didn't
there.
think
but
so.
It was a Thursday night preview.
Well,
that,
and I think it's also the movie, and this works into it. All right, so let's back up. Here's what we've got in store this weekend. If you want to go have AC, or even if you're going to sit home and watch something, this weekend's movies, we've got a shark movie, right? We've got
turtle movie,
and
a food movie.
Yeah, that's your choices this week for movies. So let's start. Gosh, where to start? I was going to say, which one would you be most likely to go see?
I would go see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, again, because I think it is a pretty good movie. And it's kind of fascinating, because, look, the Turtles happened. I was living in South America when the Turtles happened, and that's when I moved back to America. There's a whole category of things like, wait, what? They're these turtles, and they do karate? What's going on here? I think this is a franchise. The first movie made $182 million.
Yeah.
And then they kind of, they've always done fairly well. There have been 6 prior movies. But I would say that fanboys don't say that any of those movies really captured the magic of the comic book series. And this one, I think, does. I think this one is actually pretty good. They do that through a couple of ways, which surprisingly, one of them is they don't really emphasize the ninja part of it. They emphasize the teenage part of the title. And I think that works very well. The actors, the voice actors, are all played by actual teenagers. Anyone who's grown up with brothers will understand this dynamic. It's kind of like, I love you, but I still need to hit you in the head with a stick, because that's what brothers do, And I found it quite charming. I like the humor. A lot of it's very good. I certainly like the energy. It's fascinating because you say, okay, this is for the kids, and it is, it's PG-13. Obviously, it's aimed at young boys, but really it's for those nostalgic parents because, we get songs like No Diggity, Tribe Called Quest, all this stuff that I'm dancing to because, that's stuff from my youth. And look, I think the animation is very good. I think the action is fine. I don't think it's great action, but I like the performances. I like it's just a story about, these turtles who grew up in the sewers.
Now, is this the original origin story? Are we going back and telling this all over again?
Once again, we tell the origin story. Does anybody need to know that, mutating ooze fell into the New York City sewers? I think we know this. But look, I thought it was, surprisingly, I was quite, I'm not going to say moved by it, but there's some good emotional stuff in there. So
well, what? The only thing that really captures my attention, of course, I was an adult, so my kids were ninja fans.
Yeah.
But is the style, is the animation of the movie? It's a very interesting look. It's not your traditional animation.
Because it is computer generated, but it looks like it's hand drawn.
It looks like claymation almost.
Well, and it looks like something from a comic book or a sketchbook, And that's obviously done on purpose. I like the animation. Like I said, I like this one surprisingly a lot more than I thought I would.
Okay, again, it is PG-13.
Right.
So to me, it's like, okay, you had to throw things in that you exclude young grandkids.
Sure.
That you're not going to be able to take the 8-year-old, the 9-year-old, who are really the Ninja Turtle fans.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get what you're saying there. I would say that it's for the violence, and so I think you have to hit that PG-13. They are Ninja Turtles after all.
Okay, so it's not so much for the verbiage?
There's nothing there. Matter of fact, the verbiage is interesting because they don't get into the cowabunga, all those catchphrases. That's not what this is about.
Okay.
They do still like pizza, though. That's important. They do still like pizza.
Okay, I got you. All right, so again, that might be the one that, although with the rating, you might be able to get away with taking the 10-year-old, 11-year-old?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. The other one that, to me, I would have thought one was enough is Meg 2, The Trench. And if you're not familiar, aging action star, Jason Statham. Well, he did. He had a birthday this week. He's what, like 53, 4,
yeah, exactly.
5, 6?
And Wu Jing, the Chinese action star, is 49 as well. So
yeah. So I mean, so here you have the and again, let's face it. It's not like you're going to exactly work with giant sharks. So all of this has to be almost computer generated. Right?
And interesting, another PG-13 movie. So, but this one, this is the Meg came out 5 years ago. It was just kind of an August release, and let's face it, when movies come out in August, Hollywood is winding down their summer blockbusters. They're kind of, let's throw something against the wall, see what sticks. This one made $300-something million, partially because it was a guilty pleasure movie, but because they also wisely made it a Chinese co-production. So there are Chinese actors and there's Chinese producers. So it played very well overseas.
Right.
And they're doing that again here. So, poo-poo it, yes, but it will
Well, no, but I'm just saying, it's from the people, that love you know, if you love Godzilla and Mothra and all that, then you'll probably love this.
Man versus monster. So, look,
I'm not disparaging Jason Statham, though. I mean, you know, I think he's still in great shape.
He can still beat us up.
He can still play the role, but I'm just saying he is.
The irony is that he is known for his, you know, hand-to-hand martial arts skills. And I keep waiting for him to kick the Meg in the face, you know, something like that. Look, it's Statham. The first half of this movie is them on the bottom of the sea, and there are giant Megs, you know, circling around. There's also a big octopus. I am not sure I think that anything is really great there, but I do like the mayhem that happens in the last third. They go to an amusement beach called Fun Beach or Fun Park, you know, and then it just becomes a smorgasbord for the sharks. They go around, eat people. It is, they lean into the carnage. It is very much a guilty pleasure. I am not saying that this is a good movie. This is a silly movie. But there's something we said for just the man versus monster aspect.
And I'm sure there's a couple of boom moments in there when you jump out of your seat, not knowing the shark's behind you.
Or the octopus, you know,
whatever it happens to be. All right, so those two said, now let's move to a totally different genre here and talk about Poisoned, the dirty truth about your food.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're going to talk about this before you eat lunch today, because I watched this. I'll be honest, it's a documentary. It's a little dry at times, but it's told from the point of view of an attorney and a grieving father and a whistleblower. And they're the ones that first dealt with the Jack in the Box scandal from so many years ago where, you know, all those the hamburger meat, I think, killed 4 people, I forget. So, and then they go from hamburger and they explain why you have to worry about E. coli in your hamburger meat. Then they go to salads and leafy greens and understand why you may be worried about salmonella in that.
And listeria.
Exactly. Yeah. And then they go to poultry and eggs. And it's like, what can I eat? There's nothing left to eat. I think it's a very compelling documentary because, you know, you're going, wow, I didn't realize the United States food system was so tenuous, you know, our safety on that, especially because they keep going back to politicians and people saying, oh, we have the safest food system in the world, and they make the point that we absolutely do not, you know, because we're not doing some things that other countries are. But that being said, I did find it a little dry at times, you know, a lot of facts, but I wish there's a little more emotion. That being said, fascinating movie, and if you're not aware of this problem in our food system, you may want to watch
you know,
this.
and again, I've said this over and over and over. All we know is that you buy it from the grocery store. Right. That's all we know. We don't think about where does the chicken come from, or how did the cow get here,
or how did the cow, you know, feces get on your salad. And that's something that they go into. So
well, again, probably not something you want to go and watch before you go to dinner, or maybe after you've gone out to eat. Probably not. And this is something, to me, more likely I'm going to watch at home than I would see it at the theater.
Well, it's on Netflix, so not in theaters. The other two in theaters, but this one's on Netflix.
All right, does that complete our weekend there?
This is this week. It's kind of, like I said, Hollywood tends to kind of wind things down once we get to August. And so over the next couple of weeks, we still do have movies, but they're not the big blockbusters. As a matter of fact, next week, the better stuff is probably on home streaming. And then ultimately, it remains to be seen if we're going to get those big titles.
I was going to say, so when do we run dry? I mean, when do you run out of product if you've got a strike going on?
At the moment, everything is still on the calendar, so there's at least a big movie every week. But Dune 2 is probably going to move. We've already moved a Zendaya movie. I mean, they're going to start to fall, especially if they can't get the actors out there to promote it. That being said, the producers did meet with the writers. Actually, today they're meeting, so hopefully that means that there's some impetus to try and settle the strike.
All right, sounds good. Well, as always, since 1998, it's good to have Sean McBride, the movie guy, with us in the studio to talk about what's going on. Look forward to seeing you again next week.
Of course.
All right, have a good weekend. Still to come this morning, we're going to check out what's happening in your forecast. Looks like triple digits still here to stay for quite some time.